the burning question, Levi, is to know more about you, because
Hmm.
I didn't know who you were a year ago. And
Hmm.
suddenly you reached out to me around New Year's, and I had seen your name somewhere, but I didn't know who you were. And so then you came in with quite the you know, quite the style, and had a great lineup of speakers. A lot of speakers I respect, and brought perspectives that hadn't been available to the industry before. But everyone's kind of like, "Who is this kid? Like 100 million biller? Have you heard of this guy?" It's like, "What, Levi? Who?" So tell me a little bit more about you and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of different sides as we were talking about, but and the kind of hermit side right now out in the countryside, which I don't know if we'll get to. We don't have to. But for the recruitment part of it, it's all started out because of revenge, I would say, out of
Okay.
spite, kind of. I was a jet, an English teacher in the countryside, coming to a career fair in Osaka, and then I saw recruitment advertised. It was a guy in a suit. He looks like the cover of the book, sort of like just in a suit, buttoned up, telling us how we can make a bunch of money, like $250,000 a year. And I was like, "What? Who? How can I make that as an English teacher?" And he goes on to tell us about recruitment and the wonders of it. And they basically, long story short, they take us aside, interview us. Every one of my friends gets a call back except me. I get told basically that I'm not cut out for recruitment. And it was in that moment that I knew I needed to be a recruiter and prove them wrong. Um, so yeah, that was the mission from that point. And so never tell a recruiter no, because you know what's going to happen is they're never going to like stop coming back for more.
Yeah,
So
interesting sort of self-fulfilling prophecy right there. Tell them no, and
yeah,
if they really want it, then they're cut out for the job.
yeah, exactly. So I didn't end up joining that company. I ended up joining a different one. But yeah, I was pretty rambunctious. Like I was when I got into my company, I I kind of made waves as well, I would say. I was a bucking bronco, sort of like pushing back on my manager. I was a little entitled, like thinking I can do this job better, and I'd learned my lesson the hard way.
Yeah.
Um, and so I had early success, but then it was kind of like good at first, and then bad, and then like just skyrocketed from there. But it was part of it was learning to listen to my manager and slow down. I came in with a lot of speed and wanting to just break a lot of things and move fast and then go on to different searches. And then he calmed me down and focused me a little bit. And then we ended up combining our styles together. And that's when the billing started to really increase. So I had good resources, I had good mentors. And that's really like what led to my success, I would say, and some luck.
Nice. Well, we all go through that imposter syndrome phase, to become something. There's a period of time where we're not that yet, but you hit that tipping point pretty quickly. So, what was that moment like that, it hit you, that aha moment where things really started to take off?
Well, yeah, again, it started, I mean, the beginning it was taking off quite quickly. I was closing deals, but what I just didn't realize when the floor got pulled out from under me, that moment was there's a couple, but I remember one time I lost a series of deals altogether, and I was just a little bit too loose with them. You have to be really tight in recruitment and komakai, like detail oriented when it starts to get towards the end of the process.
Yeah.
And I was not really having that finesse. I was basically letting my manager close the deals through me for the first year, and I thought it was just me and I was a badass. But really, I had to learn those skills. So there was a moment, one of the turning points was they took me into a room. It was my quarterly review, and I had done great. It was like my best quarter ever. And then they told me, basically, we want you to do double the activity. They were like, oh, yeah, you met, 100 people, 200, 300 people this quarter. You need to meet 400, 500, 600 next quarter. And I was already tired. I was feeling like, and I mentioned it. I was like, I'm feeling kind of burnt out. I'm feeling tired. But a new staff was coming in to help me, and so they thought like, okay, well maybe with a new staff he can do double the amount of execution of activity. And I remember having pushing back on them, and I was like, "So you want me to do double the work?" And they got pissed. They like the senior management looked at me and they were like, "The door is right there. If you're not up for the task, like
Ooh.
get out. There's a line of people that are ready to join this company. So if you're not ready for it." And I went home that weekend like kind of traumatized. I wanted them to come in and give me a hug and be like, "It's okay. Like
Yeah.
here's what we mean by working, doing twice the activity." But I had to come back in that moment and think like, do I want to dig down and do that? Do I
Mhm.
want to achieve that, or do I not? And at that time, one of many turning points, I decided like, yeah, I want to go for it. I had only billed maybe like 30 mil at that time,
Mhm.
and so I got my stuff and I ended up doing it. We did over that amount of activity that we were supposed to do and ended up billing over 100 mil. And I remember laughing in that meeting like, yeah, you guys were kind of right. I was being a little baby about it, but I do wish that things were handled differently. I do think that there with management training for people that was never an option really and not a thing when I was in my company. I think with some of that high level support and training that they could have used me a little bit better. I had a lot of energy for the beginning and it just didn't seem like it was channeled in the right directions. It was kind of just slapped. And then the other side, when I was feeling tired, maybe helping me to feel a little bit more motivated and connected with my own goals rather than just leaving me out to dry and hoping that I come back. So there's definitely a lot to say for training out there.
Right on, man. Well, to triple your revenue like that, especially when you're in, your the first few years of your recruiting career, it's no easy feat, but it also shows what's possible when we set our mind to something. So walk us through that. What was the difference in your like daily behavior and mindset to go from 30 to 100 million?
Um, Honestly, not that much changed. It was more just the consistency over time. I mean, I was probably working less. Um, hmm, the 100 mil a year, I think I was working less than I was working my first 2 years in terms of hours. I was multitasking and I was doing probably a lot more activity during that last year, but in terms of just like brute force working and hours putting in, I was coming in like 6 days a week in the start and I was working like 12-hour days. And so the thing that changed, I guess, is I started to just get the process down. It was just all about having a system that worked and the consistency of doing that over time. And so I
Yeah.
knew exactly how to close someone. I knew how like what are the touch points that we need? When do we need to, interview prep them, for example, and
Yeah.
having a process for that. Um, and yeah, the system just kind of worked and over time with all those different activities blossoming in recruitment training. Now I put that at the bottom of the pyramid. That's like the foundation is like activity, then technique, then your process. And so I think that with all of that, just like exponential results coming out from helping people and getting referrals and getting new jobs from clients because you close a deal and knowing who's already in the market because you just filled a position and this one's empty and you have a short list already ready to go. So it was just market factors mixed with consistency, mixed with systems and effort. So,
I like that. Activity, technique, process. So
mm-hmm,
get in the reps,
mm-hmm,
work on the form,
mm-hmm,
and then master every little movement. I
mm-hmm,
really like that. Uh, really like that a lot. And so that really gives a clear distinction between before and after 30 to 100 million yen. And tell
mm-hmm,
me more about your interview process because this is something I'm passionate about.
mm-hmm,
And I've also worked contingency most of my career until
mm-hmm.
really just the past 18 months, which was the trigger to try to package up everything I know about interview prep and pass that on. But how did
Mm.
you go about interview prep? How did that fit into your process? And why do you think that's important?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was important. I can give you an example of a time that it was really helpful to someone. But there was a lady who was trying to join a European big investment bank, and she was quieter. She was like in her 50s, and they were interviewing for a role that was supposed to be the hiring manager. I know this is not PC, but he's like, give me someone in my 30s, in their 30s. I want someone who's like young and genki and can be a young new manager. And so she comes in, and she's like not that impressive in the first interview, but she has great skills. She's just quieter and softer and not doesn't seem like she would be like a really strong manager type. But I took her aside, like she went through the interview process and we had prepped her. We had a process of, okay, we'll send them some tips in like a checklist, and we might go on the phone and talk to them a bit as well. But before the final interview, which she made it to because there was not many 30-year-olds in the market, and the ones that were in the market didn't have her level of expertise, in that final interview, I took the time to sit down with her for like 45 minutes and we had a whole mock interview session. And I didn't do that for every candidate. It was only at times when I knew that it was really necessary to get them over the line. And so we sat there and I went through questions and I taught her the STAR method as well. And I had her repeat back these questions and, or sorry, repeat back her answers. And then because there's always the questions you're going to get no matter what, and you should hit those out of the park. Why are you interested in this role, and what are you bringing to the table? And you can use anecdotes or stories from both of those questions for many different questions, actually. So you just prepare like 3 to 5 anecdotes or something, and you can easily answer all the interviewers questions with something that's going to be more memorable because people remember stories, right? So
Yes.
it worked super well, and she ended up passing and getting the job. And she was so thankful to me because I think in that moment, it wasn't just getting the role for her, it was like a confidence booster as well,
Yeah.
that she was ready for it. And as far as I know, she's still in that role and in that position and growing her team.
Right
So it was
on.
a kind
Right
of
on.
beautiful story, but yeah.
That is beautiful. The multiplier effect that can happen when we just help someone, equipping them with a tool or a framework to
Mm-hmm.
enable them to shine in those moments, in those critical high stakes moments, because at this point
Mm-hmm.
it's not just her job that's at stake, but all the other positive ripples that creates by
Mm-hmm.
hiring more people into the team and
Mm-hmm.
referring people to Levi, my trusted recruiter,
Yeah, and her
etc. So
confidence level and in her
yes.
trajectory in her career too, to be like going in this direction instead of staying stagnant. So it was
Yeah, and I
powerful,
can.
and it's something that you have to practice or you're not going to get better at. And candidates don't practice it because they're not candidates for their whole career. They're an operations or compliance person, right? And so we have to give them those skills because we see these questions coming up every day, and how to pass. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Completely resonate with you about seeing the right specifications that a client is looking for, even though they might not be politically correct, as you say. But with the talent pool being so small, being able to make the most out of each one of those encounters makes a difference, not only to our billing,
Mm.
but of course,
Mm-hmm.
people as well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you wish other recruiters would do better? Where do you think like the missed opportunities are for other recruiters out there in the market based on conversations you've had recently?
I mean, there's a lot of recruiters out there that don't have any training, um, and that is really surprising and it's kind of sad to me. They don't have processes for things like this. The best recruiters in the industry have something, and something robust too. Like Stephen Lee, I was talking to him the other day, and he's talking about his packet that he gives to his candidates, and it's multiple pages, but explaining exactly how the interview process is going to go, what you need to know for that. At the end, there we're going to ask you for your salary details, and he has like this whole process and that he shares with the candidate to give them some clarity. So I think a lot of recruiters out there don't have a mentor or someone that's teaching them the best practices. And that is just, they can do all the activity that they want to, right? And they may learn some better techniques about how to actually advise candidates and not just try to sell them everything. And then the candidates start to put their hands over their ears, like, I'm sick of just getting a job description and yeah, in
Yeah.
my inbox every day, and a stupid follow up with no value add. Like, there's a way to develop these relationships with people if you understand the techniques, but if you don't learn it from someone who's doing it, you're going to be stuck at this bottom phase, just kind of on that hamster wheel without any traction. So yeah, I think having the best practices and understanding the Japanese market, which can be very different than other markets as well, um, that's what I think is probably missing from people.
For sure. And I know you have a lot of wisdom to offer in that respect, but you're also offering other kind of experiences to enrich people's life and offer them a chance to escape. So tell us a bit about that and the retreats that you're developing.
Yeah. So in a way, I mean, I don't want to say it's quite an escape because it's really more of a mirror. It's like showing you what real life actually is. So the retreats that I do, the digital detox retreats, I basically take your phone away for 3 days and 2 nights, and you come out to Chiba, and it's a group of us, and we'll stay in like a Japanese farmhouse, and we'll do farming and um, meditation and yoga and activities basically to get you out of your head where we live all the time and second guessing ourselves and wondering what we should do and should I even be in this industry or is this deal going to close and things that keep you up at night, right? You get all of that cleared out, basically get into your body, you get a little sweaty, you talk to other people who are having real moments in their lives, like often transition points or um, just I call it disconnect to reconnect. So it's not really an escape. Again, it's kind of a return almost to who you really are. And it
Mhm.
sounds a little crazy, but it's really refreshing for people, to because it ties into that bottom piece of activity, right? Recruitment training and mentorship might get you the process and it might get you the technique, the hard skills in a way, and the soft. But the activity itself is like, what is your drive? Why are you doing this? That's not something that generally you can get from, maybe you can get it from reading a book if you're very self-reflective, but usually it's good to have someone in your life like a coach um, that that can help you access this. So in the retreats it's basically just having a simple life experience and you feel more grateful maybe for when you go back home and you feel more energized. So I just want people to walk away with something real in a world where most of our jobs are very theoretical or very conceptual,
Yeah.
or we're trying to control people and get something from people. And
Yeah.
the moment that you can disconnect from that, you unlatch from that tight control, things actually start to go a lot better. And it feels easy. It feels that's the flow state that people talk about, right? Is when you are just letting you can guide people, of course, and you should advise them because oftentimes as a recruiter you have to tell the candidate what's best for their career and they can take that advice or leave it, but you need and but if you don't guide them in some way it's kind of you're not doing your job, right? But at the same time you're not here to make the decision for them. You may not have all of the factors on their side or all the information,
Yeah.
right? So you want to get show them this transparently. And from what I've seen, the job becomes a lot easier, and any job becomes easier because you are releasing a little bit. All of that stress that you're feeling is not because of external. It might seem like there's things that are flying at you, but it's really the stress is coming because you're tensing up and you're swatting it away. You know, when your manager is approaching you and or you get a text message from them in the middle of the night, it's like how you react to that will determine how much stress you put onto yourself.
Yeah.
So I want to help free people from this, and just kind of show them the joys of connection in the countryside as well.
Yeah, I love that. You know, I live downtown Tokyo, so it takes advanced planning to get out of the city. It doesn't happen as much as it should, but when I do go snowboarding in Kagura, for example, and the
Mm-hmm.
expansion that that brings, and just the
Mm-hmm.
release of tension, because
Mm-hmm.
you know, we can get a walk in the park in downtown Tokyo, but it's not like putting the phone away,
Mm-hmm.
not checking messages for a few hours or a few days,
Mm-hmm.
about looking inward, as you
Mm-hmm.
say. And not only is the, you know, body, mind, spirit so important for balance, which is really hard to get in the city, but also just to reflect, right? There's this term reflective velocity, I've
Mm-hmm.
heard recently, just that the more that one can self reflect, the more aware and in control they can be of emotions. And that's
Mm-hmm.
certainly worked for me. Um,
Mm-hmm. And
would
your
love to join one
problems,
day.
yeah, your problems seem a lot smaller when you're looking at them from the top of a ski or a snowboard run,
Yeah.
right? On the top of the
Yeah.
mountain. So,
We can blow up these little petty concerns
uh-huh.
far beyond what's necessary, right?
Yeah, because really, like nothing. I mean, this is really too philosophical, I think, but nothing really matters unless you say it matters. Like fundamentally, that's what I believe. So my life mission is basically just to enjoy my life and to help other people to enjoy theirs.
Love
At
it.
the core of it, it's like reduce suffering. So yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Levi. Where can people learn more about your retreats if they're interested?
Yeah, my LinkedIn, Levi Pells, or the website, levipells.com. And yeah, I have an Instagram for farm visits, just like a low, you know, it's not too much of a commitment. You just come out for the day. I think that's better for families. So I'll probably host more of those, probably mostly for overseas visitors, um, but maybe some local people too, like yourself or um, other LinkedIners. But the digital detox retreats and the farming experiences, I'm going to have more. They're going to be more varied, maybe as well around Japan. So not just in Chiba or in my town in Ichinomiya, although I love doing it here because you can talk to the community. But also, we'll do some at the estate. Michael Popov has down in Katsura,
Nice.
oceanfront, and then maybe in Niigata or Kumano Kodo. So who knows what this will expand to be, or change completely, and I'll just be off the grid in a year from now. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're watching this, I'm happy
Levi,
to
where are
talk to you.
you? Well, if you ever want to do one in Amami, my dad's there now with his sailboat,
Mm.
midterm, indefinitely,
Mm-hmm.
at
Mm-hmm.
the
Whoa.
southwest corner of the island called
Mm-hmm.
Uken-son. It's a really deep inlet where they have some salmon farms. So
Wow.
I'd love to host you or a group if you're down there.
That'd be
And
really cool.
when are we
Yeah,
going
if
to
we
throw
get
a
the
DJ
people.
party in the forest?
I know. We'll do it. We'll make it happen. I I have a piece of land that I'm looking at
Oh yeah,
still, and it's in the forest, and I think it'd be perfect for that, and that's what my vision was. But just with other things going on, I feel like the timing's not right now. For a while, I thought I want to buy a space and have it be my own. That's like one goal that I can think of that money would be useful, because I already am close, basically covering my living expenses now. I'm like, I don't need money for anything except maybe having a place of my own. But I'm putting that on pause right now because my goals this year are learning about farming and growing food, and also learning about construction and carpentry. And I'm doing both of these things already with people in the community. And because I'm doing it in the community just as a volunteer, it kind of comes back too, right? So I get to help them, and I'm with other people doing it, and I'm learning these skills. And maybe when I have enough, because I have zero right now for those skills, like you're talking to someone who never built anything, right, in their
Well, you
lives.
built a
I couldn't
sauna in
fix a
Hawaii. That
toilet.
was pretty impressive.
That was the first, yeah, first thing I've ever built ever, and it was way, I did it with my brother, and that's why I could handle it because I was basically just tell me what to do. Okay, I'll screw it in. How do I use a screw gun?
Yeah.
How do I use a drill? Okay,
However,
teach me.
process.
But yeah, and we got it done, and it was cool. And so if I have the skills and I can start to actually bring people out and do it with them, I would have my own space. But for now, I think it's just about being in the community and helping them, and then learning as well. So yeah, I'd love to share that with people too. So feel free to reach out to me. But I hope this was
And
helpful. We're all over the
you
place a little bit, but
you might not be CEO of a company, but you're embodying everything that Sell Yourself Like a CEO is about, because you have a vision for your future. You're
mm,
acquiring the skills to make that vision a reality, and you're doing it in a way that makes you a valuable member of your community. These are
mm,
all things that Sell Yourself Like a CEO is about. So, really appreciate you sharing your insights, your story today, because you're
mm.
so authentic. This is the kind of authenticity we want people in the world to be comfortable to be themselves and to have that vision
Mm.
and go and do what they really want to do, regardless of how it
Yeah.
may or may not fit into a corporate environment per se. So, thank you,
Yeah.
Levi.
Yeah, thank you. Technically, I am a CEO of my company,
There you go. Right,
but
the
I
CEO
didn't
of
interview
your
to get
company and
there.
your life.
But yeah, but thank you so much for inviting me on. It's been quite a journey, and having some dinners with you the past year, and I hope that we can continue to do more. And I'll make it onto your boat as well at some point.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
Ryan.
Levi.
All right.